Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for the webinar, How Sandvik Coromant Wins at the Digital Shelf with Channel-Specific Product Content. This webinar is hosted by Codifyd. During the presentation, all attendees will be on mute to ensure there's no background noise. However, please feel free to type in questions at any time during the presentation, and we will try our best to address as many questions as possible during Q&A. Following the webinar, you will receive a recording of today's presentation along with a brief survey. At this time, I would like to introduce the Vice President of Software Solutions from Codifyd, Brad Johnson.
Thanks, Shuka, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. We are honored to have Tom Henry from Sandvik Coromant speak today about how they are winning at the digital shelf using technology-enabled business processes. Before Tom tells his company's story, I would like to take a minute to let you know who Codifyd is and what it is we do. For over 15 years, Codifyd has specialized in helping manufacturers and distributors unlock the value of product content to create a differentiated B2B commerce experience. From product experience design to content factory managed services to underlying product content technology and implementations, Codifyd has been a partner of choice for many B2B market leaders. So enough about us. We are here to talk about Sandvik Coromant today. I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Tom Henry of Sandvik Coromant. Sandvik Coromant is a global leader in machine cutting tools with over $9 billion in revenues. They sell 55,000 products to over 250 distributors in North America. Today, Tom is going to tell us the Sandvik Coromant story and how they have found a solution to tackle their channel management problems through automation. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome Tom Henry.
Well, thank you, Brad, and good afternoon to everybody that's on the call today. I appreciate you joining us. As Brad mentioned, my name is Tom Henry. I am the manager of partner marketing within Sandvik Coromant, and my responsibilities include the engagement of our channel partners in different marketing-related activities. That includes the brand, the product awareness, the services that we provide. In addition to that, my responsibility is the management, maintenance, and delivery of the product data information that we share with our distribution partners in the e-commerce space. So Brad provided you a little overview of who Sandvik Coromant was, but just to elaborate, we are the global leader in providing cutting tools to the manufacturing industry. And over the past several years, we've seen an evolution change within our industry as well as within Sandvik Coromant, and we've become a digital-first organization. All the way from marketing, sales, product development, and our way of going to market within our organization. In our industry, there's an evolution that's taking place, and it's called Industry 4.0 or Industrial Internet of Things. And it's really all based on connectivity, and it really starts and ends with data. So I'm sure as most of you have seen within your specific industries, the rate of change has increased. We see it growing quickly. The innovative products and services that Sandvik Coromant provides to our customers and the investments we make in R&D to support the different industry has helped us remain #1 in the world. But one of the dramatic changes that we've seen and shown is that customers want to learn about our products differently and want to purchase our products differently. And I'm sure you're seeing the same thing and hearing the same things in your industry. Customers have more information than they've ever had before at their fingertips, and statistics show that about 2/3 of these potential buyers are now researching our products and services online before they're even contacting us for support or for help. So we need to make a conscious decision that we need to enter and invest to become leaders in this digital commerce space and really differentiate ourselves in the digital shelf. So to begin this process, we really looked at the current state, and we had to start at the beginning. Where are we at today? Where are we headed? We looked at the roadblocks to understand what those might be, what the opportunities were, what the return on investment would be, and what would be the speed of that return on investment. I mean, this is not a small undertaking in this type of project. So we started where we should start first, and is really being a customer-centric organization, is with our customers. What helps buyers make those informed decisions? And what we came down to, it starts with excellent information and content. From there, we also looked at and understood that our customers wanted to buy our products and our expertise, but then that came the second challenge. how do we translate our expertise, our knowledge, to the digital experience? And the key was having good product data. So we learned from this Industry 4.0 in evolution that's taking place in manufacturing that in the new world, data fuels everything in the digital space. So whether it's big data coming in, whether it's data going, or more importantly, the data that's going in, out, sorry, let me rephrase that. There's more data coming out, or more importantly, the data that's going in. It's really important to the e-commerce space. So in our world, we've got a statement now that no product data, no product. So the content is what fuels and drives the success. So as we dove into this product, we realized the current ways of working would not suffice to be effective. I'm sure everybody on this webinar can recall working with spreadsheets. When we think about product data and product information, you're thinking about spreadsheets and individuals doing this work manually. And we've all started there if you're past that stage today. But information was everywhere. We lacked consistency. We lacked speed. And the result of that would be lost customer opportunities and other future opportunities. It can mean lost revenues or lost opportunities for revenues in the future. And really, we couldn't wait to get into this space. It was here now. It wasn't going away. It wasn't a fad that we first thought it was. So we needed to find a solution that get us there quickly. So already in Sandvik Coromant, we had tons of product data, product information data, and we have great online sales tools that support the product selection and applications. We are a very technical company. But a lot of the information that we had was critical to support e-commerce data, and it falls from really three core areas: the marketing data, the technical data, and the commercial and logistical data. However, getting that data in the hands of our channel partners and make it work and be efficiently used to sell in this e-commerce space was difficult. So we had to establish a business process and automate the content syndication. We had to find a way to deliver quality, relevant content in a timely manner that would support their end goals. So in this process, we identified 4 key principles that we had to adhere to support the selection of the program we were going to choose or the solution that we were going to choose. And one, it had to be consistent and aligned with the current e-commerce trends. It had to meet the customer demands. It had to evolve, had to always continually be growing with the demands of the expectations. Secondly, it had to be flexible to work with the distributor's needs, regardless of their size, regardless of their geography, regardless of the requirements that they had. We had to be flexible with that. We also looked at it from an infrastructure standpoint that we couldn't start over. We had to work with the existing infrastructure investments that we made, but we need something that could help us enhance the current solution and keep us organized and get us organized. And lastly, it had to be very easy to use and affordable, critical factors in all decision-making processes. So this is how we came to know Codifyd. We went and looked at different platforms, different opportunities, and we had the opportunity to sit down with the Codifyd team, and we talked about our objectives. And those objectives include, we needed to improve our efficiencies. We needed to improve our consistency and accuracy of the data. We needed to improve greatly the speed to market to get to peak sales. We needed to formalize a process when you're thinking about 50,000 SKU count and the amount of data that supports that from an attribute level. We needed to find a way to process that and automate that process so we can manage, maintain, and deliver that data. So the objective here was no more manual spreadsheets. We're going to automate this process. So in the end, we made the decision to partner with Codifyd, and we implemented the BRIDGE solution. And today, we can connect to our distributors' catalogs seamlessly. We can publish the content in the desired formats, whether it's a full catalog performance or whether it's just a portion of the catalog, depending on the channel size or the channel requirements. And lastly, the content had to be updated automatically. So the software allowed us to automatically update this, and it's intuitive, so it learns, so that the time frame to go to market is much reduced. The last reason that we chose the BRIDGE solution was really because of the simplicity. All you needed to get started with, that we found out, was a master data source file. But as I mentioned before, we had all this data, and we had different areas of responsibility. As I said, marketing, technical, logistical data. But we really did not have a PIM system or have this information organized. So the first thing we needed to do was develop a master data source that we now refer to as our SSOT, or single source of truth. And this was an initiative done by my team in marketing, along with the Codifyd team, understanding that it didn't require any IT engagement. And today we now have developed our first data source, the SSOT, that now has weaponized us for the digital space, the digital commerce. So now we have a platform that we can go to market with. So obviously making this type of investment obviously requires some prioritization. And we had to tackle this with all key stakeholders and explain why we're doing this, why we need to make this investment, and why we need to look at this platform. And it really starts with the current processes versus the opportunity for automation. So we looked at that and looked at the number of processes that we had. You look at the number of, the second bullet, the personnel that we had involved, and you look at the cost associated with that. Automating this process allowed us to reduce cost pretty dramatically. Secondly is the speed of the product placement. And obviously within our world, it's about how do we get product sales to peak sales? How quickly can we do that? So we wanted to be the first to market. So this has greatly reduced, but we needed to look at how do we reduce getting products online and get them to online quicker. And lastly is giving the information to the distributors to sell. We wanted to be first to market. We wanted to have that philosophy, but we also wanted to maintain and understand the content. There have been cases when we've provided some information and let the channels make that decision. In this way, we control the message. We control the content. We control the keywords that people search for. So we supported that initiative. So that has led us to where we are today. And we did make a little bit of a culture change as well as some personnel changes to where we were previously. So today, as part of the process, I went out and recruited a product data professional. And that data professional now is part of our organization as the Bridge super user. So we've gone from multiple people to a single user, now having the ability to have a single view of all our channels, work on all the products and the projects that we have. So we're self-sufficient with one individual managing that database and that information. Lastly, we wanted to be more proficient and elevate ourselves within our channel market or channel partners. We're more of a consultative service now versus that relationship, and it's really fostering different relationships with our channel partners because now we're engaging in different conversations about the e-commerce space and the channel opportunity and the sales opportunities in that environment. So we've become more of a consultant as well as a partner to these environments and these different channel partners. And it doesn't stop there. So now that we've got the process in place and we've got the activity working, we've got our single source of truth, and we've got our people in place from a processes standpoint, we now want to look at the next level and taking this to the nth degree. So we're looking to be more proactive with the Bridge solution. And one example of that is the dashboard within Bridge. What it does allows us to do is to look at the data that is being delivered and look at the completeness of that data that's being delivered. So we make sure we're delivering all the data, all the SKU counts, we're providing the data, and we have a check and balances with the dashboard to make sure that we are providing the right content. Secondly, we're looking at the seamless integration, this automation piece of API connection and having that direct connect. How can we take data that we update our products? And Sandvik Coromant launches about 3,000 products every year. How do we take that information, now plug it in seamlessly and connect to those channels so they can take that and we can apply it to their e-commerce solution? And lastly, we're looking at the global opportunity here. This was critical with Sandvik Coromant being a global organization in about 130 different countries. We needed a solution that could support us from a global level as well with different languages. And Codifyd and the Bridge solution offered that opportunity. So I hope this provided a little bit of information about Sandvik Coromant, our background. We're looking to take this to the next level. I appreciate your time today, and Shuka, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Tom. That was really great. It was really interesting to hear the Sandvik Coromant story and sort of how you guys have solved this big problem that I think a lot of organizations still have to deal with a manual process. At this point, we will turn it on to the audience. Please go ahead and type your questions in the question bar, and we will start to answer them one by one. We have a few right now, but please go ahead and answer them right now. So question number 1, how did you justify ROI using the bridge solution?
So as I mentioned earlier, one of the challenges for us was obviously speed to market. So we're looking at peak sales, and we needed a solution to automate this process. So when we look at the investment, you look at the efficiency savings, and you look at the objectives we had for sales growth, we could justify the return on investment and the timeline to do that. With that speed, what it's done is allowed what usually took 90 to 120 days to get to market has now allowed us to do it in less than 30 days.
Great. And just to add to that, Tom, this is Brad. The statistics we've seen across our user base, our broader user base on the Bridge platform, are clients getting to market about 3 to 5 times faster than they normally would, and saving about 70% in cost maintaining and updating the system. A lot of this is due to the artificial intelligence we use in the system, which is a combination of machine learning and predictive analytics in order to gain speed and intelligence, so the system becomes a no-touch type of solution when you update it. And that's driven for our clients on average about an 8% lift in revenues.
Okay, great. We're going to go on and go on to the second question. What is the normal timeline to implementation of the Bridge solution?
I could answer that. This is Tom again. Being that the Bridge program is a cloud-based solution, there's really no implementation stage to this. I mean, we can set up an account today and get started working on delivering data today. From our experience, once we hired the digital professional, the information professional, it really took about 60 days to train and learn on the software and really become our super user. So they've made us self-sufficient really in about 60 days to utilize the software, the Bridge solution.
Okay. And we're going to go on to question number 3. How do you keep Bridge up to date?
The maintenance and update of Bridge, as I alluded to earlier, is driven by machine learning and artificial intelligence, which allows you, once you set up your connection, so once you've made that initial investment in time and energy to set up the connections from your source data to your channel partners, at that point the updates, whether it's a partial update or updating your entire catalog, is fully automated.
Okay. Next question. Can you talk about how you manage the multicultural aspects, i.e. products sold in different countries, translations?
I can start that, and maybe Brad, you can talk a little bit about the languages and the change within the software Bridge. But what we did is we started this as a pilot in the United States market. So what we did is we piloted based on ISO standards. So in our industry, we have an ISO standard when it comes to product call-outs. What's really different is the attribute data, what someone might call something in a different market or culture. So that's really where the change and the difference is. To do that, we have the translation opportunity. We have our product data in different markets that we then bring in to support building that single source of truth and updating that per market to support that and drive that.
Yeah, and from more of a technical perspective, the software has features, for example, one that's called Supplemental Files, that allows you to merge pricing, merge languages. So you can actually either insert an additional price or language when you're publishing your catalog, or you can even overwrite, for example, English with Spanish, let's say. So there's functionality that allows you to handle both a lot of complexity around languages, pricing, and other key data within your set.
Okay. How do you keep the data consistent for your channel partners? Each one might be looking for data in a certain format.
And that really starts with the single source of truth. So the data we're providing them is consistent in the source file. So the data we're providing to our channel partners is the same. They may ask for different types of data, but what we end up doing with the bridge solution is mapping it to the same content. So our data is consistent from channel to channel partner. What they ask for might be different, but the information going to them is consistent from that source data.
Yeah, and that is the essence of Bridge, is it's taking that source data and transforming it into the requirements of each one of the channel partners, and then creating a persistent relationship between your source data and the channel partners, so every time you run those updates, your channel partners are receiving their data in their desired format.
Okay. What other solutions were evaluated, and why/how did Codifyd BRIDGE stand out? Did you evaluate SAP Hypris solutions?
So when we started this process, it really started online, and then we started talking to some of our key channel partners. And the Codifyd name came up on multiple occasions. So that's really where we ended up and started to look at. And some of our larger channel partners were engaged in partners, and really it was a seamless interaction. It was a way for us to do it quicker, to do it more seamlessly. They understood what was being delivered, how it was being delivered. And then when we get to the future state of having the open API connections, this is just a seamless transition. So that's the reason we chose the Codifyd BRIDGE solution.
Okay. Does the BRIDGE solution also help you manage non-text fields such as images, CAD files, MSDS, etc.? Are there limitations on what content can be managed through BRIDGE?
The answer is yes. It will handle images and files like manufacturers' data sheets, spec sheets, PDFs. So there are no limitations with any type of content or digital asset that you would find in any normal e-commerce environment or on any product detail page within an e-commerce environment.
Okay. What is the difference between a PIM and this BRIDGE solution? Would you consider this a true PIM?
Let me answer that, Tom.
Yeah, if you want to answer, go ahead.
Yeah, so BRIDGE is not a PIM. It's a PIM accelerator. It adds value to a PIM. So a PIM would serve as a way to manage your source data and create your single source of truth that Tom referred to. And then BRIDGE is allowing you to syndicate that content out to all of the sources, all of your channels, and automate that business process and allow your business users in your marketing group to manage those relationships. So it complements a PIM. It does not replace a PIM.
Okay, this next question I think we've partially answered, but I will go ahead and ask it. Do you have a separate PIM, or is your material master database feeding most of the data? What about images?
So as I mentioned, the U.S. was the target market for this. So we had all this content, as I said, in those three core areas, the marketing, the technical, and the commercial data, but we really didn't have it all organized. It was in silos. It was in different departments, different systems. So we realized early on, and we used the BRIDGE solution to create this source data. Moving forward, we'll have to look at the supply of that data and how we manage that data. But to get to market quicker, to have a solution, like I said earlier, we couldn't wait. The e-commerce environment was upon us. So it may take years to establish that PIM environment. So we chose to use the BRIDGE solution to create that single source of truth. And that's our source data that we now update on a regular basis with data from those three different departments to create our source file.
Yeah, one thing just to add to what Tom said, Sandvik Coromant has actually used BRIDGE to merge, if you will, these multiple sources. So one nice feature of BRIDGE is you can merge as many data sources as you would like. So Sandvik Coromant's been able to merge multiple data sources within the BRIDGE platform in order to create a single source of truth and automate that process. So one of those data sources is updated, they feed that through BRIDGE, which then creates their single source of truth.
Okay. Next question. Can images be renamed during a mapping? Some partners have image naming requirements, meaning each distributor needs their image name to their specific standard before being loaded. Can BRIDGE do that conversion?
Yes, BRIDGE tracks images by catalog, and you can also resize the images at export.
Okay. I believe that's all the questions we have right now. If anyone has any remaining questions, please go ahead and type them right now. We're going to wait maybe another minute or so to see if we get any other questions. I'm going to scroll here and make sure I didn't miss any of these questions. Meanwhile, please go ahead and type any other remaining questions you may have. Okay, I think we have one more question. What kind of issues and limitations have been reported while using Bridge?
If I look at it from our end, it started out that we didn't have the super user. We didn't have the data specialist that understood the taxonomy. We tried to do it internally, and that was really our delay. Once we had an individual who understood the terminology, the taxonomy, the attributes, and how that should flow from a categorization, it went much quicker. So that was the limitation on our end. From a software standpoint, it's easy to use. It's click, touch and click. There's a learning curve with it, but once you get it, it's real easy to use.
Okay. We have another question. Do you have standard to connectors to existing MDM solutions?
Yeah, we have connected. We have, for example, clients who push their data through our Bridge API and therefore completely automate the process of pushing data from their source into Bridge. And then as far as the outputs go, we connect with those APIs on a client-by-client basis. So if a subscriber to Bridge wants to connect to an open API that one of the distributors has, we will make that connection.
Okay, I think that's an end to our Q&A. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Once again, Brad Johnson, VP of Software Solutions from Codifyd. If you have any further questions or would like to brainstorm in any way, go ahead. His email is on this slide, bjohnson@codifyd.com, phone number 815-572-1493. And here's one last slide with our general Codifyd information. Thank you so much for being on this webinar with us. I hope it was informative to you, and we look forward to speaking to you more in the future. Thank you very much.